online heist. EVE Online keeps popping up in the news, whether there's a giant war or a big money heist, because players just dump thousands of hours and thousands of dollars in real cash into managing and ruling their in-game corporate empires. One of the most absurd infiltration
This is so cool, actually.
jobs of all time comes from two enemy
They spent 10 months. It was a 10-month covert mission in EVE Online to complete the bounty. That's amazing. That's some dedication.
organizations, leading
Hell
to
yeah.
dramatic assassination and a whole lot of real money looting. The heist itself only took 10 months of underground scheming, but it was years of gameplay preparation that made it possible. To keep it brief, a group called the Guiding Hand Social Club were hired by an anonymous client for 1 billion IS.
At the time of the contract signing, we requested 1 billion ISK, says the Guiding Hand CEO Esteban Shogatsu, which was quite the sum so many months ago. We could never have foreseen how ever the gains upon its execution. We found ourselves staring at Fort Knox with the key in our hands. That's crazy. So they pulled off this assassination they were hired to do, and then they just put him in the perfect position to carry out an even bigger plot.
EVE's in-game cash to assassinate the CEO of the Ubiqua Seraph Corporation. 1 billion ISK would have been about 550 real dollars, which is a whole lot of money for assassinating a digital person, but after the club got the dirty work of infiltrating the highest echelons of the corporation, they decided they had the keys to the piggy bank. After rising the ranks and garnering trust, the fix was in, the CEO was ambushed in their flagship, and corporate coffers were raided. At the end of the day, the Guiding Hand ran off with about $16,000 in real cash assets. Not a bad haul for a video game. At number 22, Giant
Solid.
Death Robots. Civ 5 introduced one of the biggest, baddest units of the series, the Giant Death Robots. And, well, if the title of these massive murder machines looks funny, there's a good reason for that. They're a brainchild of a longtime Civilization forums poster, Perfection. In a thread titled Giant Death Robots, Perfection describes his vision for historically inaccurate giant robots to kill everything. In paragraphs of ranting, the Giant Death Robots are described as killer megazords with long-range weapons and unstoppable power. For whatever reason, the developers at Fireaxis took the bait. The in-game Giant Death Robots are the ultimate units of the information age, and while they're not quite as powerful or as versatile,
And they can disassemble to form a bunch of smaller death robots. Seems pretty OP.
as the
I
post
haven't
describes, they're
played
still the
this one,
best
though.
units in the game by far. Once you start building these monsters, world domination is never far away, and it's because of one poster's unhinged desire to see giant death robots in Civilization. And number 21 is Laser Hell Beaten. We've talked before about the super secret challenge and split fiction before on Game Ranks, but there's one wrinkle to the story we didn't know. A pair of players that pulled off this impossible feat were rewarded with a unique promise. The two were promised an early peek at the developer's next game, and they deserve it because this challenge is crazy difficult. The secret challenge is found during the isolation chapter, during the maximum security section. You'll eventually reach an elevator with 2 buttons in the center. Instead of standing on the buttons and activating the lift, you'll need to put in a secret code by stepping to the left or right sides in a specific order. Do that and the lift takes you down to Laser Hell. This series of challenges is so tough, we could only get about halfway before giving up entirely. You'll need to pass through a series of difficult obstacle courses with super fast lasers, and both players will need to make it through. There's no checkpoints, and if one player dies, you have to restart the whole thing from the beginning. Joseph Fares, the co-founder of Hazelight and the director of Split Fiction, offered to fly the players to Sweden to check out what they were working on next. Sometimes playing a game really well does get you something special. And number 20, No Man's Sky is a massive galaxy. You can explore it for years and discover new things. One
This one's pretty cool. It took this long for someone to meet another person.
player called Proper Duck 3495 hit the jackpot after doing the impossible, finding another player. Yes, No Man's Sky is technically set in a giant shared galaxy where players can traverse planets and find each other, but the odds are so astronomically low that most players basically only spot each other at hubs. That makes sense, of course. Hubs are where everyone hangs out, so you're bound to run into other players there. The rest of the galaxy is just so vast that calculated chances of seeing another player in the same spot as you on the same planet are about 50 million to 1.
At the
Proper
same
Duck
time.
reported that after exploring space for the last 8 years, they finally stumbled onto another person organically. No joining teams, inviting friends, no hubs, just stumbling into another person in the great impossible blackness of space. The developers always said it was possible, and now we have proof. Proper
pretty
Duck
dope.
should have bought a lottery ticket or two after this one, though. I would have. And number 19, a lost ship found after 3 years. Another space game with infinite possibilities is Elite Dangerous. It's the game where players explore the universe, found an alien spaceship after years of searching. Player Robert Bettig, forgive me if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, sir, but he never intended to find aliens after 2,000 hours of in-game time and 2 years after the game's initial release, but he encountered one while jumping through hyperspace. One moment he was cruising through space, the next an alien vessel shut down his systems and appeared. It's just one of multiple handcrafted discoveries the developers hid in the galaxy. Another team of players calling themselves the Children of Rock Sludge
Has he really been the only one?
have found hints that they followed laid down by the developers in an elaborate ARG. Well, I guess it's in the game, so I don't know if it's particularly alternate. But anyway, there's a mysterious lost vessel alluded to in the official Elite Dangerous tie-in novel called Elite Reclamation. The giant ship is very spooky. It's got audio logs hinting at a horrible chemical substance that made the crew kill each other.
Honestly, that'd be such a cool experience going through and reading the lore and knowing that after so much, you've pretty much been the only one to hit that encounter. It's crazy, man. Super lucky.
It's a spooky location.
I guess all these guys
it's
are
one of
lucky.
the biggest secrets in a video game we've ever seen. Literally, it's huge. And number 18, walk into the Farlands. The Farlands is the biome most of us are never going to see in Minecraft. This semi-mystical edge of the known world where integer overflow bugs cause the random world generator to break down. That's the Farlands. There's ways to get this spooky edge of the world error, to get there, to reach it. It's possible. The most straightforward way is to walk, though. Too bad the Farlands are like 12.5 million blocks away from spawn, which is a lot of walking. Streamer Kurt J. Mack took on the challenge.
Wow, dude, this is freaking crazy. Farlands are bust. Get there.
And started walking. Took him more than 14 years to reach
14 years. Holy shit,
his
dude.
goal, the edge of the Minecraft world. Other players
Farlands
managed to
are
reach this
bust.
area a lot faster.
Like, how do you keep going, dude? It's been, 6 months, and you decide, okay, I'm gonna keep pushing it. It's been, what, 3 years, 4 years? All of a sudden, it's been 8 years, and you decided to keep pushing it, dude. Holy shit. That's some dedication.
With one player claiming to lock it in at 2 years due to sprinting. This is an
13
insane
years.
challenge.
13 years
Even
is
the
more
comparatively
impressive.
shorter 2 years requires taking breaks. You can't walk forever, even in a video game. Kurt J. Mack stuck to his guns and kept going every day for a frankly irresponsible amount of time, and we salute him for the effort.
14
The reward
years.
is exactly what everybody thought it would be, and that's what makes it so special.
Zilch, brother.
And number 17 is the last coin in Mario 64. There's one coin that's been vexing gamers since release, the 192nd coin on Tiny Huge Island. For the longest time, players thought we were stuck collecting 191 coins legitimately. Last coin was glitched, mistakenly placed under the world geometry where Mario can't reach it. That's why it took a Mario 64 master to finally unlock the secret. YouTuber Panenkoic 2012 finally grabbed the impossible coin 18 years after the game's initial release, and it ain't easy. To pull it off, Mario has to make a frame-perfect jump while exiting water. You have to glitch through the mountain at the center of the...
To be fair, none of this is really putting it into perspective because this game is played at an insanely high level, like very technical level. If you look at all these speedruns, and it still took this long for these guys to figure this one coin out 18 years after release.
Map and then swim to the very edge of the water. The trick is to exit the water for one single frame. You can jump out and reach the impossible coin. It's insanely difficult even for experienced speedrunners, and pulling it off consistently is difficult for the best players online. Panenkoic 2012 is one of the best, able to pull off crazy feats like completing Mario 64 without ever pressing the A button. That's a challenge you have to check out yourself too, because it's hard to explain what's even going on when you dive that deep into the esoteric Mario 64 mechanics. And number 16, from fan to official, Sega embraces the Sonic fandom like no other video game company does. Unlike Nintendo, fan projects aren't sent DMCA notices for no reason. As long as fans follow a few guidelines, Sega's happy to let Sonic's legion of fans do whatever the hell they want. The most prolific fan online is Christian Whitehead, known as the Taxman in online circles, where he's such a big fan of the original Sonic trilogy, he worked on remastered versions of the original side-scrolling series. He even produced a proof-of-concept version of Sonic CD, playable available on iPhone just to show Sega it can be done. His hard work landed him on Sonic projects like the remasters that were released on the iPhone, and then later everywhere else. And later, he worked on Sonic Mania, which is one of the best games in the entire franchise. It's more or less his baby, along with
Every time I see somebody get hired for a project because of the passion, those projects are literally the best. You know, it's we have to have that drive, that passion in order to bring good games back. W.
Headcanon, or Stealth, or whatever you want to call them. Their remasters would later become Sonic Origins, not necessarily with the amount of work it would have needed, but that's not their fault by any stretch. This is one fan that took his obsession and pushed Sega to do better with their re-releases, making accurate, fun versions of fan-favorite games, and then going on to outdo the actual developers at Sonic Team. One guy turned his love for a very specific game into a long-running career. Then he went on to make Penny's Big Breakaway, which is a very different type of 3D platform. It's still one of the most fun games out there you probably haven't played. It's the type of story you love to see. At number 15, the last official secret in even games as old as Doom 2. More than 2 decades after release, Fnatic finally discovered how to access the secret room legitimately without cheats. The secret's found in the level 15 industrial zone, and the developers never fixed a bug, making the secret trigger impossible to reach for normal players. Using the map editor, it was possible to check the secret and access it using cheat codes, but one man could not stand for that. Zero Master on YouTube discovered that it was possible to get pushed into the secret sector with the help of the Pain Elemental, you know, the big brown meatballs that spit out lost souls. By luring one of those dopes towards the secret, with just the right RNG, it's possible for the monster to nudge the Doom guy through the floor and access the secret, triggering it through a wall and making 100% secret completion possible. It's almost impossible to pull off for normal players, and it's completely impractical for speedruns, but Zero Master proved to the Doom community it was possible to get all the secrets of Doom 2 without using cheat codes. And
Doom will forever be legendary, bro. Even now.
Number 14, Big Boss believes in Santa. One of the weirdest jokes in Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker comes from an exchange where Snake admits that he believes in Santa Claus. Maybe this is just a cute little joke that makes everyone's favorite stealth super agent a little more relatable, but some fans think it's a sly shout out to a goofy holiday-related game named Merry Gear Solid, developed by a longtime fan by the name of Arthur Lee, aka Mr. Podunkian. These are top-down stealth games where Snake must navigate guards, children watching from Santa, and deliver presents on Christmas Eve. He has a variety of special weapons like a Nerf gun, a digital camera, candy cane smokes. It's all very silly, and it's not unreasonable to think Hideo Kojima saw this game in action. Kojima has appeared in multiple videos by comedy troupe Mega 64, and when it comes to being extremely online, he's one of the best. Was his Santa Easter egg a response to a fan's love letter to the series? We don't know for sure, but sure would be a Christmas miracle if true.
Honestly, I feel like it is. That's the kind of guy. Hideo Kojima is just that kind of guy, bro.
And number 13, Angry Commentator Unlocked. After years of playing Wave Race Blue Storm, NeoGAF forum member Raoul Duke shared a code no one had ever seen before. Inputting the code in the audio settings unlocks a totally new commentator that replaces the chipper original voice, and the new commentator hates you. The new commentator says stuff like, if you lose this race, I'm not going to love you anymore. Or, your wins are like diamonds, very rare. As if our wave racing self-esteem wasn't low enough.
If you were any good, you could get a turbo by hitting the gas when the light goes green.
3, 2, 1, go! These are some sick one-liners, and they all work on the European release, too. The code was discovered in 2010, almost 10 years after the game's original release, and we don't know why it was included or remained hidden for so long, but we're all about developers including dumb secrets like this, and it's certainly not the only dumb secret on this list.
Yellow buoys go on the left. Weak. Forget it. Call that a pass? Excellent. Turbo is wasted on you.
And number 12 is the ending E skip. YouTuber Lance McDonald was on a mission. After playing Nier Automata for hundreds of hours, he still hadn't found the final secret hinted at by the game's director in an interview.
Dude, I'm gonna add this to my wish list right now. I have not played. This is one of those games that I just haven't actually sat down and done it. But Nier Automata, oh my god. The worst one for me has been Witcher 3. I had a collection. I think I was missing like 2 or 3 cards of Gwent. I had a full collection almost. And then I was already to the last islands, where you meet up with Ciri and then eventually become Ciri. I was there and I got busy and I just never came back to it because it's such a story driven game. I feel like if I go back and do it, I'm gonna do it from zero. I don't know about getting the full Gwent collection again though. That was tough. But Gwent is uh, probably one of my favorite mini games included in any game.
No one had, so
Nier
Lance went to
Automata.
work. Searching in the game's digital space wasn't enough at this point. He needed to go deeper. He went through the code and found
grab my
lines that were
Steam real
seemingly
quick.
never used by the game, and after reverse engineering it, he was able to discover a hidden code that allowed players to skip straight to the game's final ending from the prologue. The cheat is only possible to pull off after defeating the big prologue boss and talking to an ally. Instead of progressing further, you go to a spot with 6 metal barrels, 3
Done. On wish list.
on
We'll
each
come.
side.
We'll circle
Stand in
back
the
to
center,
it.
hold R2, press up, down, right, left,
For sure.
square, circle, triangle, cross. If you do it correctly, you'll jump straight to ending E in the final moments of the game. Normally, the game requires multiple playthroughs, which is a whole lot of work, and you can skip it for very little. It's obviously a developer secret used for debugging purposes, and we're glad that they left it in there for someone to find many years later.
Pod 042, please respond to this query. You, faithful player of this title, have lost your life multiple times to make it this far. You have faced crushing hardship and suffered. Do you have any interest in helping the weak?
At number 11, the Shooting Gallery. After 5 years of chainsawing the locust
Honestly, the best one, we're getting top 10, and the best one has been the 14-year trip to the far lands. Okay, by far. Let's see what else, man. It's gonna be pretty hard to top that. That was way back here too.
horde monsters into bloody bits. One player found what might be the final Easter egg of Gears of War 3. These games are about meaty men chewing rocks. They're also packed with really good Easter eggs, though. And this one might be one of the best. By shooting 3 very hard-to-see coins in Act 2, Chapter 2, Marcus and friends unlock a portal to a shooting gallery. You'll appear in a chamber with a mounted turret, and locust soldiers will pop out of the ground like whack-a-moles to shoot. The big secret was first discovered long after everybody else stopped playing by YouTuber TacCom, more specifically at Fell Blue Dodger. Shooting enough flying monster men will earn you different rewards, making this one of the more elaborate secrets in the game. Here's hoping Microsoft will get off their butts and make another one so we can start searching for secrets again. It's so rare.
You know, thinking about it, now that I think about it, I think with all these new remakes that are coming out in media and entertainment, including video games, they might actually come back and do it. And uh, some people might say that they're a little desperate for money, so they might actually give the green light to produce, which would be a good thing for us, right? A lot of people would like to see it again.
Easter eggs aren't spotted immediately, so when one takes 5 years to find, you know it's pretty well hidden. And number 10, Pokemon drop rates on holiday. Now, this is just a weird discovery that's almost lost media. A big-time shiny hunter in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl named at Shiny Hunter Map discovered a big secret.
Bro, it's been such a long time since I played through a Pokemon game. Oh my god. My favorite one was actually not an original Pokemon game. It was a hack. It was a Pokemon third generation Fire Red Omega. That's the one where they modded the original 360 what is it, 361? I forget. The Pokemon, and you could capture them all without having to do trades or nothing. Spent a lot of good times, but these newer Pokemon games, um, uh, they kind of depart from the game that I used to enjoy. So, although now that I think about it, I might be willing to do a playthrough of the new 3D Pokemons, the ones that got into lawsuits with Nintendo. Those look like quality remakes. I have to Maybe get some support for that if people want to see that.
The game calculates the drop rate of wild Pokemon in tall grass differently depending on holidays, so more Pokemon would appear on very specific days. Independence Day, the end of World War II in Europe, they both get a 5% drop rate buff, but the most
That's so cool, actually, of Nintendo having the drop rates increased a little bit for certain Pokemon certain days. It's kind of like a neat little thing.
most
Never
important
would have
days get a huge
expected it either.
10% boost. Hilariously, one of the days
10%.
you get the biggest drop rate buff is Junichi Masuda's birthday, the director of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah, of course, right?
Well, I guess that's the one day that really
10%.
matters in the Pokemon world. Obviously, these days heavily skew towards Japanese holidays, which is pretty understandable considering where they're made. So dates like Culture Day and Oban Lantern Festival get lowered Pokemon drop rates. Christmas and New Year's get the same treatment. Maybe the developers trying to discourage us from playing on big holidays. Days of Tragedy get the biggest Pokemon appearance debuff. September 11th and the
Oh shit! So they get a debuff too, like on Christmas. So they're kind of subconsciously telling you, hey, drop the game at least today. Shit, a debuff by 10 is pretty huge though.
bombing of Hiroshima and
Oh
Nagasaki
shit!
have Pokemon's lowest appearance rate.
You know, I think it's a cool idea that he did this. He might have just done it kind of for himself. Like hidden motives or paying respects to the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki or 9/11. It's cool.
Bet you never thought you'd hear that Pokemon and nuclear bombs have something to do with each other in some way, but they do, and here we are. At number 9
I
is
didn't know
fan
that
to indie
before.
mega hit, a different kind of payoff. Harvest Moon is a farm simulation game where you tend
Honestly, I was just talking shit, saying it was going to be hard to defeat the 14-year Minecraft Farlands journey, but that little tidbit of knowledge for the Pokemon increases and debuffs, correlating with certain dates, I think that's a pretty neat second there. Pretty clean. Not my favorite, but let's see what else we got. We still got 9 more.
to your fields and make friends in town. It's a charming series of games where, they've been going for a long time, and one indie developer was a very big fan, Eric Barone, the
I forget
creator
this
of
game.
Stardew Valley.
But that looks really good. That looks really fun.
He loved the series so much and played the series for so long, he decided to make his own from scratch. The decision hit in the early days of the indie boom, making Stardew Valley one of the most played Steam games and cementing its place as indie royalty. Eric Barone turned a lifelong obsession with Harvest Moon into a career with the
Harvest
coziest
Moon,
game
yeah,
imaginable.
Harvest Moon.
There's hundreds of examples on Steam that tell the same story as
Wow.
Eric Barone. A fan makes a new version of a game they love, but Eric Barone did it as a solo developer mostly, and that makes it so much easier to break down the influences. And while you're making your own favorite game,
Stardew's on my list too. I'll come around and play it, but I'm gonna need at least spare 4,000 hours to put into that.
that's an awesome opportunity. It isn't often that professional developers get to work with their heroes. That's what the next entry is about. At number 8, Davide Soliani loved Mario 64, was a formative video game for
Me too, brother. Honestly, that's still one of my top games.
the creative director over at Ubisoft,
S
and
tier.
that love translated
Forever.
into a very different type of game. Instead of making his own 3D platformer, Davide directed both Mario plus Rabbids games. Mario and Rabbids are fun, speedy tactical games where you play as Mario's colorful cast of characters, and they're mixed with the chaotic Rabbids mascots. They're some of the only games where the Rabbids are even remotely tolerable, which is pretty high praise. These games are also deeply connected to Nintendo, as legendary designer Shigeru Miyamoto consulted with other Nintendo greats. Davide described these experiences as a dream come true.
Oh, you know what? This game brings me. Dude, is that new movie Mario Galaxy any good? I think I'm gonna have to watch that trailer. Mario Galaxy. I think it was just released today or very recently. Mario Galaxy movie trailer. I think I'll watch that next.
True, in an industry as cutthroat as video games, it's not often two companies just work together. Crossover properties are, let's be serious, a company usually has to own all the IP to do it. So Nintendo, it's even weirder they did it. They're super protective of their characters. It's a miracle this project happened at all, but it did, and Davide was famously praised by Shigeru Miyamoto on stage during a Ubisoft presentation at the E3 convention in 2017. They say never meet your heroes, but it seems like things worked out pretty well here.
Oh shit. Gotcha, bitch.
And number 7, the audience queue knockout. There's always something else to discover in Punch-Out. This speedrunner favorite is also one of the most difficult
People
games
still
in the
playing
NES
this?
library, and learning every trick is essentially required if you want to win. This trick, which was discovered multiple decades after the original game was released, gives you an edge over 2 separate fights. The trick, shared by Midwestern housewives on YouTube, involves watching an audience member. Here's the gist. During a fight, a member in the audience will
I
duck slightly,
love
giving
how such a small channel released such a such a neat niche strat to this game that honestly a lot of people don't even remember. This game came out in the 80s, right?
you a very, very
Legendary,
brief time
though.
where you can punch your opponent.
Legendary. And then again, the spotlight was shone on this guy, Little Mac, in Super Smash Bros, which reminds me, another legendary triple S tier video game, Super Smash Bros on the 64. Still one of my favorite games of all time.
And knock them out instantly. When the audience member ducks, you punch. If you time it just right, you can knock out the second phase of Piston Honda or Bald Bull. It's
Oh,
an instant
shit.
knockout punch for Piston Honda
That's
that was
huge.
already widely known, but the visual cue for the audience was not. This trick also works on Bald Bull, was also seemingly unknown, making this obsessive play worth it.
This motherfucker played this low poly game for so many decades that he finally noticed this one pixel that helps his speedruns. It's hilarious. And then a channel with 544 subscribers put that out.
And number 6 is Happy Birthday in Halo 3. Another weird little Easter egg discovered way after the fact. Lord Zed on YouTube posted a video about an unknown secret. If people did know about this one, they didn't document it. On a very specific day, Halo 3 will display a message that says, "Happy birthday, Lauren." Lauren, the wife of Bungie developer Adrian Perez, who added the Easter egg to the game. Very simple, was even hinted at in 2 community mailbags at Bungie's official website at the time, but was definitely not noticed by the majority of people. Finding the Easter egg makes more sense when you realize Lord Zed is a prolific Halo modder that makes insane, wonderful mods for the series even after everyone else has moved on. But it's always nice to see a secret discovered by a dedicated community member, even if it's something simple. And number 5 is Hail to the King. Final Fantasy IX has one of the most evil achievements in the whole series. It has nothing to do with magic or monsters. At the start of Final Fantasy IX, you'll be able to play a jump rope minigame that gets progressively harder the longer you jump rope. Getting to 100 is basically impossible for us. The Hail to the King achievement isn't about getting 100 jumps, though. It's about getting 1,000. The timing gets trickier the higher you score.
Oh my
There's a brutal
God.
double jump at 200. You'll need perfect rhythm and precision, and while this has been done by a select few, who can claim to have completed it with a blindfold on? Well, Played to Completion on YouTube pulled off this self-imposed challenge thanks to hundreds of hours of Final Fantasy IX. Turns out being able to see helps. Being unable to see makes counting a lot harder, and he has to memorize exactly when the tempo changes, all while hoping he's got the rhythm right. In the end, he smashed the record and scored a blistering 1,168 jumps. We'd have to practice years to do this with our
Wow.
eyes open. He made it look easy. At number 4, Let Me Solo Her. Melania is one of the most infamous bosses in video game history. The Elden Ring hidden boss is a big wall of difficulty a lot of players can't beat, and so rose a different type of hero. Let Me Solo Her was a friendly player that offered up his services to make Melania a breeze. Wearing nothing but a giant pot in his head, Let Me Solo Her mastered one of the
Hold up. Is this the brother of Let Me Tank Him? The Elden Ring myth? Let Me Tank Him and his brother right here? Let Me Solo?
toughest bosses in Souls-like history and makes it look easy. The mysterious player is so infamous, he immediately became an internet meme, appearing as an Easter egg in plenty of other video games, all because he's really good at Elden Ring. One of the most explicit Easter eggs appears in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, where you'll find a pot-wielding skeleton in a field. The deceased is naked, carrying 2 swords and has red flowers sprouting from the body, similar to crimson rot flowers in Elden Ring. Just one small acknowledgement of this one player's contributions. It's awesome to see a fan
Oh, they made him dead though.
get a little recognition for helping out so many people. And number 3 is Milton's Big Break. One of the most notable fan project of the 2010s has to be AM2R, another Metroid 2 remake. The name's humbled, but the project is far from it. It's one of the most well-made fan projects ever made, rebuilding Metroid 2 from the ground up and expanding the game's scope very considerably, making it a much better game, to say the least. Too bad AM2R, released right before Nintendo, announced the official Metroid 2 remake. AM2R is considered by many to be the superior game. Nintendo did what Nintendo does and sent the creator, Argentine developer Milton Guasti, a DMCA takedown.
Man, honestly, I wish I played more Metroid. Yeah, I know there's a lot of good games in the series, but I've only played the old ones, on the original Nintendo. The NES.
Demanding the free fan game be removed and buried
And
forever.
the
It was
DS,
a
I played
nasty
another
blow
one.
to fans who have been waiting for more Samus adventures for a very long time in 2016. Samus Aran is a pretty good place on the Nintendo Switch now, and on the Switch too, but we were in a long drought period 10 years ago. That DMCA takedown sucked. But the acclaimed AM2R project got Milton notice. He's now working for Moon Studios and deep in development of the Steam Early Access hit No Rest for the Wicked. Some fans got to meet their heroes, others got crushed on the Nintendo corporate boot. At least Milton made it out with a job offer, though. And number 2 is Buried Treasure Hunt. It took 3 years of obsessive work to unravel one of the weirdest internet args we've seen so far. And there's one person at the center of
Is
it.
that guy
Trials
AI?
Evolution
What the
is a
fuck?
physics game about balancing a bike and reaching a goal in increasingly complicated tracks. Doesn't seem like that complicated of a game, but trust us, these games are insane.
Insanely fun, dude. These games are hella fun. Yo, I remember the days where everybody was playing Happy Wheels. It was plastered all over the homepage. Happy Wheels, Happy Wheels. Same genre, different game.
The Trials
Ooh.
Evolution alternate reality game required an entire community of code breakers to decipher the secret. As described by one member of the community, Brad Hill,
What the hell? Okay, what they discovered?
there are 10 steps to this convoluted puzzle. It involves finding planks that spell out a coded message in-game and unlocking a song by performing a specific trick, solving riddles, finding websites, following coordinates to locations, and collecting keys from hidden metal boxes in the real world. Those keys have a very specific use. They'll unlock something under the Eiffel Tower. That's an awesome discovery. Too bad the keys will only work in 2113. Developer Red Links confirmed this is not a joke. It's tough to believe them. How do you set up an event almost a century in the future? Don't know. Maybe the Eiffel Tower bookings are really congested, whatever the case. The mystery's been solved for now, and it's all thanks to Brad Hill and people like him working tirelessly on one of
Is that the
gaming's
same
most
clip?
complex world-spanning puzzles.
Bro, that was
Finally,
annoying
at
to
number
watch
1,
twice.
The
What
Body
the
in
hell?
the Bank in Silent Hill 2 was picked apart almost immediately.
It's like those ads, those bait ads where they like mobile games where they lose at a really easy part or they don't spot the pattern and it's so obvious and they kind of incentivize the people to click it. It's engagement based off of rage baiting, and it's actually very effective.
After release
They
by
got
fans
me.
struggling to understand its
They got me.
unclear narrative. It's a story that's so classically up to interpretation, and fans had ideas from the get-go. Way back in 2006, one member of the Silent Hill forum, named The Adversary, was pushing a theory that Maria died the day before the events of Silent Hill 2, not the multiple years that protagonist James implies. This theory's been traded around Silent Hill circles for decades. It's so ubiquitous, even the creators of Silent Hill have commented on it, but comments aren't the same as canon. And the Silent Hill 2 remake by Bloober Team blows the lid off this particular mystery. By using camera mods, it's finally possible to look at the back of James's car to see that the developers have added a very conspicuous sheet that looks very much like a body. Decades later, and a forum theory has finally been confirmed. There's even a totally new ending in the remake where Mary appears in the back seat to talk to James, looking pretty fresh for a dead body. It's been a long road, but it looks like the adversary's craziest theories were not so crazy after all.
What's wrong, honey?
Or maybe they were just lazy and forgot to take it off. They thought, they didn't think people were gonna use no-clip cameras.
I miss you so much.
That's all I've got for you today, though. Leave us a comment, let us know what
I don't know if that makes sense. If she died 5 minutes ago, you know what I mean?
you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. So click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications. And as always, we thank you very much for watching.